Tera King, God bless you, woman. How are you?
I'm doing really good. How are you today?
I'm doing well. I am very excited that you came. Thank you for coming. You work for Idaho Forest Group. I am an idiot when it comes to our natural resources. I did an interview with Dean Dennis Becker
Right.
a couple weeks back, and he's the Dean of Natural Resources at U of I, and it makes my head hurt. I don't understand all of the moving pieces. It's like we have timber, we have water, we have minerals, we have wild animals that are like owned by the state, like a nugget of gold is owned by, it's like these are all our state resources. And timber in particular is one. Like I grew up with people always being like, save the trees, like it's like, don't use paper, recycle the paper. I'm like, yeah, man, the trees, like the poor trees. I don't know what trees I thought were poor, but like there were trees. Then when I was like 20, I don't know, like 24, I was watching, did you ever watch Discovery Channel? Were you like a big, yeah, okay.
Yeah, of course.
Like back in the day, right? And they had this dumb show. It was like the transition where Discovery Channel was like everybody scrambling for content. And one of them was like extreme log cabins and then like extreme logging and extreme.
I remember those ones, yes.
And
the Axemen.
Yeah. That's like everybody wanted to be Paul Bunyan. Did you ever see the one where they had the logging company that had the old Sherman tank and they would set the Sherman tank up on the top of a ridge? And what's that? The mechanism that you essentially have like the zip line, right?
The cable yarder.
Yeah, exactly. So what they had is they had the tank that would go up, they'd anchor the tank down and then extend a telescope up. And then that was their like zip line to like pull the lumber up. It was wild, right? Anyway, It's obviously hit me. But the point,
you remember it.
I remember it. And I remember this guy on the show being like, we grow trees by accident here. Like you can't stop the trees from growing. It's like a renewable resource. Like we can't even stop them from growing. They're everywhere. And these guys were harvesting large stands that had probably been blown down through weather and everything. And they're like, they're already on the ground. We're just picking them up. Like we're just picking. And I remember seeing that and being like, damn, that is not what I thought when I was in elementary school. So help me understand what the Forest Group does. Help me understand what this industry is and where we are. I know that's a broad question and I'm sure we won't be able to cover it all today, but like just help start the conversation with me.
Okay. Well, I'm trying to decide if I should respond to what you were saying about the Axemen first or start it. No. So Idaho Forest Group is a family-owned lumber company. So we make round things into rectangles. We own 5 sawmills in Idaho. So we have mills in Grangeville, Lewiston, Chilco, Laclede, and up Moyer Springs, which is by the Canadian border. I'm not sure exactly if this still stands, but at one point, at least, we were like the 8th largest lumber producer in the U.S., right in there somewhere. And we're, I think this year, one of the largest, if not the largest, purchaser of federal timber in the nation. So we do have a big footprint here in Idaho, obviously, but we're not the only player. In Idaho, we actually do have a very healthy forest industry. And that's, again, pretty broad. You've got forest industry, which is like the timber in the woods, the loggers, the mills, and then sort of the lumber and the sales side. So it's pretty broad and it's driven by many, many different things and nuances and different things and timing of different things. But ultimately, the lumber market is a commodity market. So
may I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay. So just so I can orient myself correctly. So the Forest Group owns mills. Yes. And if we were to relate it to a parallel industry, it's like the mineral mining industry. So you have a natural resource. Okay, that exists. Like trees exist, hard rock mining, like there are minerals in there somewhere that you can get. You have the individual that goes out and grabs that resource through a myriad of different processes. And that would be analogous to somebody going out into a forest, whoever owns it, whatever the agreement is, going out, chopping down a tree. That natural resource, be it the felled tree or the mineral, that gets delivered to something that can process that into a usable product, right? So that this is where our smelters are and refining for minerals. This is where the mills are, which is like, bring me the big old tree and I'm gonna turn something circle into something square. Like that's what I do. Then you take that product from the refinery or from the milling, and then you deliver it to somebody to sell. And when that person grabs it to sell, so you would like, for instance, you're like, I will deliver a bunch of stuff to Home Depot, and then Home Depot has the burden of actually selling it. That's the point of purchase to the consumer. But that's essentially the chain of command and or ownership of a resource that comes out of the ground to the point of purchase from the customer.
Basically correct, yes.
Gotcha. And sometimes you have consolidation where the mill might own a point of purchase, right? They have their own lumber yard. You might have consolidation within, actual people that are doing the logging under the employment of a mill company to get things directly there. But that's in general, like those are the players. You need somebody cutting down the tree and dragging it to the mill. You need the mill chopping it up and making it into a usable product. And then you need somebody that's going to sell that product. And all of these people, lest we forget, have to make a profit.
Correct.
Because no one can work at a loss. So the lumberjack has to make money, the mill has to make money, and the point of sale has to make money, which is where the commodity market comes in. Because if someone else is establishing the price of what you can sell this product of all of these people for, if they're like, you only get $3 for that stick of lumber, then everybody down the line, Home Depot has to be like, okay, how much does it cost me from the mill? Can I make a profit? The mill's like, okay, this is how much Home Depot is going to pay me. Can I make a profit? And then the lumberjack's like, okay, this is how much the mill is going to pay me to cut this down. Can I make a profit? And if those things, if any one of those people says, I can't make a profit, the lumber's not delivered.
Broken. Yep.
Got it.
Yep.
So
no, that's a really good explanation. Yeah.
Okay.
So it used to be back historically that a lot of the mills, so the manufacturing piece of that description, were pretty vertically integrated. So a lot of times they owned the land, they employed the loggers directly, and then they manufactured it and sold it. That has kind of broken into pieces. So currently, like in our situation, we don't own the resource or the land. So we may buy it from the federal government, we may buy it from the state, or we could buy it from a private landowner.
And when you're saying buy it, you're saying buy the land or buy the tree?
Buy the standing tree, and then
Got it. So you would still employ then people to go down and physically remove the tree and bring it to you.
So in most cases we would hire a contractor to go. They're not our employees, or a contractor that we would hire. They go do the work on the ground and deliver it to the mill.
Got it.
And then that's where we take ownership of it. And like you said, we manufacture it the best we can to market it and make the most money off of that, and then deliver it to the point of sale.
Okay. That being said, we are dealing in, again, a commodity. What is the state of profitability for this market in Idaho? Because if, like there was a period of time when lumber went crazy. Do you remember like 2020, 2021? I'm sure you do. I remember going to the store and just, dude, oh my God, it was wild. I had a buddy who actually owned a lumber yard, and it's like Ashby Lumber. It's like, awesome, man. And, or excuse me, not Ashby Lumber. It was, it doesn't matter what the lumber company is. The point is, he was crushing Piedmont Lumber. There it is. So he owned Piedmont Lumber, and his dad had started a long time ago. And dude, I talked to him. He's like, yeah, we're doing all right, but we're going to take a hit on the back end too. He's like, prices are going to oscillate, and we weren't doing too well beforehand. So now we're making money. And I was like, okay. So he's kind of about, you're still making a killing. He's like, yeah, I'm still doing well. Good for you, John.
Let's not beat around the bush. Yeah, it is a very cyclical. The lumber market especially has been cyclical forever. So it's kind of, the players that have been around a while know how to deal with that. And they should know how to deal with that. There's going to be a down for every upcycle. So
okay, but how is this cyclical? Because at no point are people like, I don't like 2x4s. Like it's kind of like seasonal dog food sales. It's like, wait, your dog needs to eat all day, every day. It's like, yeah. And like, we need to build houses all day, every day. Yeah, boom and bust times.
It is.
Okay, but like in general, there's still a demand for lumber. Like right now, the people are building houses, right?
Yeah, it is. It's both a function of supply and demand. So you have to have, like you were saying, the people on the supply side, so the raw material side and the manufacturing side, have to be, what's the word? Not diligent, but like competitive about how they supply the market. So like right now we're dealing with all kinds of supply side issues with tariffs and how much logs or lumber the Canadians are bringing over into the U.S., and that affects how much capacity or production we can supply to the market. But then on the demand side is what you're talking about, is the demand for lumber, which again is cyclical as well. It's, mortgage rates. It's, we've got a lot of production in the South, and they're bringing on southern yellow pine, which is depending on who you ask, a market substitute for our high-quality Doug fir in the Inland West.
It's trash. Arkansas, you and your yellow pine, get out of here.
I know, right? I didn't say that.
Did I nail that? I nailed that.
Yeah, well,
yes. God, I get a little thing. I glean little insights here and there.
It depends on who you ask. I can't be too negative because we actually own a mill in Mississippi as well that produces other nails.
Different state.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
Okay, so you guys have a similar problem then. Like I'm very good friends with Sugar Beet Sam Parrott, who's the executive director of the Snake River Sugar Beet Association, right? Sugar beet growers. The federal government annually tries to figure out, okay, how well are we going to grow sugar beets this year? Like, are we going to have a high production year or a low production year? And based on what their estimates are, then they backfill, because we import sugar, they backfill with like Brazilian sugar. Okay. And this year, quite unfortunately, they estimated that the American sugar growers would grow less than they grew. Like they had a banner year. They just banged it out of the park. But they had already allowed a lot of sugar from Brazil in. So all of a sudden you have this glut of sugar in the United States, which come to find out is Brazil actually dumps its sugar, I think at a loss, into the United States to make sure they buoy their own sugar market locally. Bastards. Anyway, so you have this push and pull, and you have the United States actively trying to, pull these levers so we can keep our sugar production market and our growers solvent, because that's what they need from year to year, but also making sure that we have a supply of sugar that keeps prices not too crazy, because you don't want the consumer going through these mass swings either.
Try to keep it steady.
Do we have the same kind of levers in play for Canadian lumber? Because if you're saying, hey, look, man, if Canada dumps a bunch of lumber down here, then we turn off our mills. And if we turn off our mills, that means the contractors that we engage, they're not cutting down. And that means that Home Depot's buying from them instead of us. And our industry, I would assume, likely contracts. Because if a contractor's like, listen, man, I can only make money 3 years in a row, and the fourth one, I always get hammered. Like, they're going to find likely different employment, right? So is there a way that the federal government or the state government at this point regulates the amount of influx similar to like what a sugar beet grower would do?
Right. Yeah, they do. It's a national policy issue. So for Canadian lumber and logs, we have duties and countervailing measures.
Okay.
So every year they go through this very complicated process that I can't even begin to explain to figure out how much we have to charge Canadian products coming over the border, lumber products. And then there's lawsuits for 5 or 6 years, and somewhere down the road they'll pay us. So the Canadian it's not a tariff, it's actually in addition to whatever tariffs there might be. So right now you've got all these duties and countervailing measures that have gone on, so you're charging, I think the rate's at like 34% or something on top of the Canadian product coming on, and that's just the duties and countervailing, which is like the Canadian government subsidizes their producers a certain amount to bring it over into our markets. And so it's kind of like the counter to that piece. And so we charge them that much extra just to like outweigh that. Okay, so let me get this right. So the Canadian government's like, hey, man, we're going to take this money. I bet they say it just like, hey, man. I bet they're sitting around a nice fancy table. And they're like, all right, man, this is what we're going to do. This is what I'm talking about. We're going to take this money. We're going to take this tax dollar. We're going to have a process for that. We're going to have process. And Tera, your Canadian, Tara, that's your Canadian counterpoint. Tara's got some lumber. And dude, we want that lumber in the United States because we want Tara to stay solvent. And Tara, if she charges her prices, she's not going to be able to make money. So what we're going to do is we're going to give Tara a bunch of money, and that will decrease her cost. So then she'll be able to sell it in the United States, like essentially under her cost. So she'll stay solvent. We're just helping her a little bit. And who cares about the Americans? And they're like, that's what I'm talking about. So that they do that. And then Americans are like, hey, yeah, not hey, what are you doing? They're like, oh, nothing. Like, I'm just hanging out with Tara. It's like, no, we know that you just gave her a dump truck of money to sell lumber here at a loss.
And that's screwing up our entire lumber market. So we're not just going to charge you a tariff because we're part of the, NAFTA agreement. We're actually going to charge you an additional fee to offset the money you took away. So now you have to deal in a competitive market with actual costs that our dealers are actually doing. That's essentially it.
That's the intent of it. Although I can't speak to the motivations of the Canadians specifically, but yeah, that's basically
what they're doing. You know what they're doing. They're taking care of Tara.
That's probably true.
Why? Can I ask you something? When all the tariffs were coming out in the beginning of 25, and I'm not asking you to comment on the effectiveness of them or propriety of them, people got really upset about this. And again, I understand why. People were like, listen, man, tariffs, all that means is the American consumer is going to pay more. And to a degree, it's like, okay, yeah, I could understand that. Like, I don't want to pay any more for any of the goods or products that I consume. But at the same time, it started coming out. It was like, all of these other countries are playing dirty in the sandbox too. Like, what about Canada? What about Tara in Canada?
It is a little eye-opening.
Yeah, it's like, what about the Brazilian sugar beet farmers? Like, what about the EU dairy industry? Like, what about all of these other places that have an astronomical protectionist mechanism to support their localized people? So guess what? Everyone in the EU, they spend more on dairy because they protect their dairy industry. Everybody in, Brazil, they're paying more because they're getting rid of their excess so they don't have a glut in Brazil. Like, everybody engages in this, I don't want to say complete protectionism, but they're looking out for their industry.
Trying to,
Yet
yeah.
when the United States does it, people lose their ever-loving minds.
Me too. I know. It's actually
You must have been watching this, pulling your hair out. I'm surprised you still have so much.
Well, yeah, it is kind of wild, actually. And I mean, I think the actual tariff on lumber was like 10%, but it was in addition to all the duties and the countervailing measures. So it ended up being a big percentage of what they were charged to come across.
Who collects the countervailing measures? Does that go straight to the federal government?
I believe so. I think,
bless it.
Yeah, it goes to the Treasury. It
goes in a bucket somewhere.
It does not come back to the manufacturers. I know that for a fact.
I love it. So they're like, listen, man, we got to do this for your own good. We're just going to charge them a lot of money. It's all good. And we'll just take that money over here. It's essentially like Canadian taxpayer dollars are going to the U.S. Treasury. Because if Canada dumps $100 million into their lumber to decrease the cost coming in the United States, and the United States jacks up the cost of $100 million to offset that, you literally just you would be better off just not decreasing the cost of the lumber coming in, Canada, because you're just putting the money into the U.S. coffers. Don't accuse them of being, never mind.
You're right. Let's not talk about
Anyway, so back to this. So you guys have these considerations with international players dumping lumber. I don't want to say dumping, but importing lumber or exporting lumber into the United States. We're importing it. And there are things to offset that cost, but like any other commodity, you are beholden to the market swings then, because if Canada gets it across the border and if for whatever reason they're producing it at a lower cost than the United States and we're not, effectively bouncing it off, things just get more expensive, get cheaper. And that puts a pinch on whether or not you guys can actually make money.
Yeah, and there's so many nuances to it, but like using your example during COVID. So obviously we were making money in COVID. The lumber market was going crazy. But at the
Why was that, by the way? I never got an answer, why everything skyrocketed.
My understanding, which is probably not the whole story, but a lot of it was the repair and remodel market. So everybody's at home and wants to redo their office. And so that's why... That's why, it was the home centers that were getting flooded. So the lumber yards were also, but it wasn't necessarily the contractors, although that was also part of it. It was really the home centers that were getting the repair and remodel market from people being at home and while I'm here.
I've always wanted to fix that.
Or a chicken
vanity
coop or whatever they were doing, but it adds up if it's everybody.
Dude, I feel so bad for the chickens that were bought as a reactionary anxiety to egg prices and then forgotten 6 months later. They're like, I'm still here, but hang on, man, I still need corn. They're like, I'm going back to the store. Throw them over the fence.
Yeah, I doubt they were butchering those chickens. I don't know what they do with those.
Dude, that totally happened. The reaction, I got COVID puppy. It was terrible. Oh my God. It was
better than a COVID baby.
That probably would have been more fun and a higher ROI, lifelong. I got a French bulldog. So I don't know what's better. If the wife had accidentally gotten pregnant and we had a baby or getting a French bulldog, he's annoying and is only gotten more annoying. Like if we had a kid, at least we'd like be taking him to Little League. I'm like, I got a kid. Like, it's great. He'll feed me applesauce one day. Like, it's whatever. What would his name be? Sebastian. It's like Sebastian, the COVID kid I never had.
Probably. But it wouldn't be spelled like that. It'd have some weird spelling. It wouldn't just
It'd have like a CH in there somewhere. It had an X. The shin would be like XEN, Sebastian X. Dude,
Yes,
what
I
about
think
like
so.
inventing all the names that are a combination of Brad, Brian, Ryan, and like Connor? It's like Conrin or something.
Like, that's not what that says.
What about like all the celebrities with their walking? Didn't what's her name? Who had the jade eggs? It was like, oh, it was ridiculous. I'm not going to tell you what the jade eggs were used for, but it was like, I can't remember who was dating the guy who was the lead singer of Coldplay. Green eyes.
Gosh.
She named her kid Apple.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Blonde hair.
Yes.
Was it Paltrow? Gwyneth Paltrow?
Yes. Yes. And don't Google jade eggs. Like the point is she had a product line that was very odd. And she also named her kid Apple. Like, can you just say John? Like, can we just get back? Like, anyway, I don't know why we're talking about it. You
can't go
can't.
back.
Okay. So again, I'm sorry. The model and remodel and repair market skyrocketed over COVID, and that's what drove things up. That was a temporary and hyper unique buoy in this industry. You also had, we had the BLM movement pass through my community really intensely. And like, dude, they ran out of plywood. Like Home Depot and Lowe's were out of plywood.
Yeah.
And like I spent hours with friends. Like the jiu-jitsu school I was training at was all glass windows on two sides. And it's like, we built a wall, like an impenetrable wall. So it's like, it wouldn't get bricks and stuff thrown through it.
That is wild, isn't it? Can you believe that actually happened?
No.
It's sort of surreal.
And when people say like, oh, why'd you move to Idaho? It's like, like I can't, like my head hurts.
Don't tell them.
It's, well, it's more primarily people in Idaho trying to orient themselves to like, who is this person? And did he come here for the right reasons? It's like, listen,
he's a
man.
Spy.
A spy. What am I going to steal?
BLM
Like,
spy.
what am I going to steal? Like appropriate policies to take back to California? I'm like,
terrible.
Let's balance our budget. That's a great idea. Anyway, I'm going to shut up. I'm sorry. I've had too much coffee today. We're on a different bender.
Totally went a different direction there.
Yeah.
What was I even saying? Oh, I was
We were
talking about COVID.
Yeah,
the
cost.
market.
There we
Okay,
go.
so yeah, getting back to that. So obviously the lumber market went up, but at the same time over that period, inflation was going crazy. So like our labor costs, our manufacturing costs also went up like 36%. And I don't know, like you don't claw that back ever, really. I mean, you can maybe a little bit on certain pieces of it, but not just ours in the mill, but like the loggers that are out there that I mean, you can imagine the equipment they're using. It's millions of dollars worth of equipment to like get a loan on that just the costs of everything were so high that the margin, I mean, I'm not saying we weren't making money, but the margin wasn't as big as you might think, just because at the same time we were, have this huge run on inflation for not just the cost of materials, but even just trying to get materials for like saws for the mill and oil and things like that you need just to make it run. It was scarce, number one, but then if you didn't get it, you're paying ridiculous rates for it. So,
okay, here's a question for you. Why did the cost of labor skyrocket? And again, I understand you're saying, hey, look, probably supply chain, you're dealing with millions of dollars worth of equipment, millions and millions and millions to get like replacement things. So you probably had a scarcity of replacement parts, which means you had a scarcity of functional equipment, which means you have fewer people engaging in harvesting, the same amount of lumber. That's going to be a problem. But at the same time, you had people getting paid to stay home. And I have to imagine, if you're out logging in the middle of northern Idaho, you're probably not worried about a 6-foot barrier as you would be in an accounting firm.
Yeah.
So like, couldn't you just be like, hey, everyone who's at home, why don't you come log? And like, we have employment, we have, we're making money, like come out, let's work.
Yeah. Well, again, nuances to that, but you're right. We didn't participate in that particular section of crazy.
I don't participate. Did not participate.
We did not participate in that. So we did pretty much keep everybody working. We were, I think, at home for a few months, and then we're like, everybody come back. Let's do this. But what happened was, and it was kind of a timing thing. It wasn't immediate right at the beginning or anything like that. But as people started to come back to work, we had this like huge labor where we were at the mill, at least, had a ton of turnover. Like the competition for employees went crazy because people started offering more. And I'm trying to remember what the driver for that was. I think there was an increase in a federal minimum wage, if I remember correctly.
Well, I think people were also weighing whether they should return to work or continue, because they're like, listen,
there was fewer
I could
people,
make
that's
$25,000 not doing anything. You're offering me 45, which is fine.
Yeah.
But the real delta there is I'm only making 20 if I come and work full time for you. And if I don't do anything, I make 25.
Yeah, that's right.
So like, why would I go do that?
Yeah.
And so then and of course, business owners are scrambling because they need employees to engage in employment in order to make money on the back end. So they're like, we'll do it. We'll take a loss, or I'll go at cost. If you're a business owner, you do anything to keep the business, know this, you do anything to keep the business going. So then you had a lot of competition where businesses were like, we will operate at a loss just so it's not that big of a loss. Like we have to keep moving forward.
And also for a long-term perspective, like, well, hopefully that doesn't keep going, but at some point it'll turn around. But that's exactly right. But then once you hire those employees, some of those employees are making more than long-term employees. And so you got this crazy disparity.
Because you had to incentivize people to come on.
Exactly. Which is terrible, really. But so now you have all these...
Jim's like, I've been with you for 20 years. And Brian's making $10 more an hour. He's a jerk.
That doesn't work very good. People figure it out real quick. So.
Yeah, right.
But on the logging side, and this is actually, you'd asked about like pinch points in the industry.
Yeah.
The logging industry, I mean, you can imagine trying to get young people into that business in the first place. So those guys, a lot of them are showing up to the landings at like 2:00 in the morning. And then, they got to get the first load of logs to the mill when the mill opens at 5:30 or whenever it opens. And so, not everybody's willing to do that. And certainly not a lot of young people really are going to sign up for that when they have so many other options. But then in addition to that, just the capital expense required was like to enter the market in general, like to start your own logging company, you have to have at least 3 pieces of equipment to make it work. How do you get a loan for that? And how do you start? And then we don't have like a book of work that we put in front of everybody. It's bid by bid. So how do they make sure they've got enough work throughout the entire year to make those payments? Like it's a huge ask for somebody trying to enter that market. And so we could double check the statistics, but I think like the average age of the typical logger is like 67.
Oh my gosh.
That bell curve is laying on its side.
And this is not one of those things where it's like AI is going to replace this, like truck drivers. Like,
right.
Like you need viable, like Superman people out there doing the really, really hard. How much do you guys pay? Maybe I could get a job. It's like, come on now.
We'll talk about that later.
What's your closest mill from here? How far away?
From Boise?
4 hours?
It's in Grangeville, so it's about 4 hours from here.
I want to come to your mill.
You should totally do that.
I want to come to your mill and do, I want to come to your mill and do a show, like literally on your mill floor.
That would
I'll
be
wear
awesome.
a hard hat. I probably need one.
Well, you'll have to. But
I'll wear a hat. Yeah. Like I have always wanted to see a mill.
It is awesome. It truly is. It's like the feat of engineering, and it's not just like a lumber mill, but any of these like manufacturings, you go and you look at the floor and like all the parts and pieces. And at this point in our mill, but I think that's true of pretty much all of them, there's like 1 or 2 operators for these, $1 million pieces of equipment. But then what you don't see is behind the scenes, there's 15 people that it takes to just maintain that equipment. And so it's wild to watch. It really is. And then, I always think I'm walking through the mills, and I can remember my dad when we were kids was like, you got to drive that. I had a 1977 F-150. And he's like, this is perfect because there's very few moving parts to break.
Yeah, right.
And I think about that as you're walking through the mill. It's like there is so much going on and all the little chains and mechanisms. And then you add the technology and the computers and the scanners and the cameras and everything on top of it. And it's shocking that it actually works, honestly. But it's really something to see.
I just want to know what it's like to smell all of that wood.
It's awesome.
Every
day, even in the office, you can come in, you can smell it.
Oh, I can smell it right now.
It's a very happy place.
My old rowing coach talked about when he walked into the first boathouse he went to, and he smelled like the hand worked cedar and stuff.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I love that. Like I love woodworking. I really enjoy wood. My uncle actually had a millworks, and he did
really?
he did a ton of custom cabinetry and custom projects and stuff. I really enjoy wood. I never got as good at woodworking as I would have liked, predominantly because I didn't have anybody teaching me. So like I'm not like, don't ask me how to do dovetails. Like I can look up on YouTube, but like that's a really like all the different joinery is just really interesting. I was of the generation of woodworkers that found the Craig jig. I'm like, oh, I can just with like boards like this, like, okay, great. Yeah. And of course, pre that, like if you go, my rowing coach actually knew how to do like Japanese woodworking, really fancy stuff. So he did these incredible projects in the area where it's like not a single screw, not a single nail. And then of course you had the marriage of wood and stone. So then you had to get stone workers because you'd create wedge style joints and then like smack in a piece of stone that was cut just right. And then everything held for like centuries. It's man, it's a wild.
It's a whole different, like the craftsmanship that goes into some of that stuff. I mean, it's a lot. It's easy to appreciate. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's incredible. So coming back to the milling industry in general, then, what is the state of the lumber industry in Idaho? Like, obviously, you're outlining a very risky, likely profitable in good years and very risky in off years. Industry that is beholden to international pushes and pulls. It's beholden to obviously cyclical change within our own economy. Because I mean, clearly, if you have 2009 was not a great year for you.
Not great, yeah.
And so you have all of these large capital outlays that you have to have in place for the like legacy equipment that needs to be localized, right? This is not something you can outsource like to China or Mexico. It's like, no, man, we need the mills where the trees are, right?
Well, and the mills have to be set up in a way to cut the trees that actually grow on the land. So you can't, even our Grangeville mill is different than our Chilco mill, and our Laclede mill is specific to pine and cedar. So
what's your Grangeville mill specific to?
It's dimensional as well.
Okay.
But at that mill, just because it's in Grangeville, you get a lot more volume off national forests at that one, a lot more off state land. And so it's just a slightly different size mix, a slightly different species mix. There's more pine on the southern end of our wood basket. So we have to try to run pine, which is really difficult because there's a very low marketability for pine.
Okay, so this is what I was trying to understand. What is the state as far as the breakdown of types of trees and the profitability of those trees? Because I assume so pine is on the low end. Mm-hmm. What's a really expensive tree? Like if you're like, oh, dude, we found one of these, it's huge. It's going to be like a $20,000 tree. Like what is that?
Well,
like cedar or something?
For commercial species, it's western red cedar, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you get a big cedar tree, that's worth like a considerable amount of money?
It is to an extent. So most of the mills in Idaho, because, we're operating very efficiently and trying to run a lot through, we have a size max. So depending on the mill, like a 30-inch base is about as big as we can fit through the mill. And a lot of cedar especially is rotten in the middle. And so depending on the situation there, that tree may or may not. I mean, cedar usually has value in general, but a higher or lower value.
That would be, do you guys cut it into like quarters or eighths if it's rotten in the middle and then just send it through in
yeah,
those
we can
wedges?
Merchandise it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wild
Different
times.
Products.
Okay, so what is the value then of the current state of the Idaho forest? Like, do you have a lot of low value trees that would require high volume in order to get a product instead of like, okay, all of these trees are like red cedar, they're all really valuable, so we don't have to worry about burning out our machines because we're making enough money just, running at 80% capacity instead of 110% capacity.
Right. Yeah. Well, in the Inland West, we're actually really fortunate that our primary species are actually very valuable. So like Doug fir from the Inland West, because it grows at a very steady rate with, very small growth rings a lot of times. It's very strong. It's very durable. It's worth a lot more than, Doug fir even on other markets.
And is the Inland West like Eastern Oregon, Eastern Washington, and Western Idaho? So
and
it's kind of that.
A little bit of Montana.
Okay. So it even crosses over across like Southern Idaho. Just grows in Montana.
Yeah, the Southern Idaho, there's not a lot of milling infrastructure. Yeah. So even just the disparity north to south in Idaho, it's a big state, obviously. Gotcha. There's a mill in New Meadows, trying to think if there's like post and pole outfits in southern Idaho, but really there's no like large scale commercial manufacturing really south of New Meadows.
Gotcha.
So-
Okay. So we have good Doug fir on the western and kind of northern side of the state.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Doug fir, western larch, even grand fir we can mill very well. We have lodgepole and spruce, which we can also mill very well, and comparable values, but certainly the Doug fir and the larch are higher value. Cedar's way higher because there's a lot of specialty products that you can use cedar for. And then on the low end is the ponderosa pine for the most part.
Ponderosa pine. So is there an active campaign to repopulate our forested areas with more valuable or more, commercially viable products? Because I mean, they take a long time to grow, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
they do.
50
It's not an annual
at least.
crop for sure. It depends on the landowner and what the objectives of the landowner are. So most private landowners are usually worried about marketability, and trying to game the market when it's 40, 50, 60 years away is hard to do. But they usually have other objectives in their management style. So they may want to manage for wildlife. A lot of people are managing for like fire resilience. And so different species are appropriate in that sense. And they may make a decision that's maybe not fully, well, I just want to make the most money. I want it not to burn.
Right.
So you might make a little bit different decision. If it's an industrial private owner, they're looking mostly at what's going to be the most profitable, although they have other concerns as well.
Sure.
But when you're talking about public lands, that's a whole different game. Well, certainly they want their species to be marketable, but they have a wide range of the other types of things that they want to get out of that forest resource. So they may not choose that. So like, as an example, on the Nez Perce Clearwater National Forest, they have really high fire risk because they're on at least the southern part of the forest is a drier forest type. And so naturally, Doug fir and ponderosa pine are more prevalent. But as you miss fire cycles or you're not doing mechanical harvesting, you get more grand fir, more of the shade tolerant species coming in underneath. And then what do you do?
What happens if that? So you essentially have mismanagement, and that allows for growth of less desirable, the grand fir, or really less desirable, which is like shade tolerant things come up out of nowhere because you don't have the burns that are going through and because you're not harvesting aggressively enough. Once that happens, does that prevent you from then effectively harvesting and thinning with profitability, or is it just like another thing you got to deal with?
No, every acre is a little bit different. So if there's grand fir growing up in a ponderosa stand, we can still harvest that very efficiently. I mean, once it gets big enough, obviously. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's fire resilient. So it's kind of like, I don't know if it's a full trade-off, but you just have to be aware of what you're managing for. If you want, in a true ponderosa pine environment, the fire return interval is, 20 to 35 years.
Okay.
Naturally. So pre-European settlement.
Pre-European.
It's a word.
I like the stank you put on the pre-European.
Well, because it's an arbitrary line. So there was lots going on prior to the Europeans being in the area.
Like
so.
There are classic examples of native tribes that like managed landscapes.
Absolutely.
Like,
they were doing all kinds of
pre-European.
things. They're doing all kinds of stuff.
Could you imagine trying to manage a landscape without steel?
No, not really.
Like,
can you even imagine how hard it actually is to cut down a big tree with an axe? I mean, have you ever actually tried to do that? It's not easy.
Yeah, but that's why Paul Bunyan was jacked, bro. And he had a blue ox. Like, they were gangsters. I would give it a shot. Like, but that's where you got
think how much work that is.
But that's where you got like those old timey shots of black and white with like these trees that were 3 times the size of the men at the bottom. And like they took a picture, not because they had iPhones. They're like, oh, snap a selfie. It's like, get a photographer here. I can't believe it. This took us a week to cut down. And those are people just sawing wood all day. Like, yeah, man, I can't. And like they died and stuff too. Like that's epically dangerous thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have people that like all the different methods of felling trees where it's like they burn out portions of the trunk. I've seen interesting videos where they set up like jacks and stuff, like cut holes and everything.
Springboards, yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever see any of those horror videos where somebody like cuts out a wedge but doesn't do it deep enough or correctly enough and it falls on the house?
It happens a lot, actually.
God,
There's a
it's
very
so
specific
painful.
skill set that, these are professional sawyers. Don't try this at home.
Yeah, I go after plumbing things.
Mm-hmm.
Like in general, I'm like, I could work out that, drain.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't cutting down a tree. Get the hell out of
I
here.
wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, right. I saw one video that was wild where the tree, started going. The guy starts running, like starts
Run away.
runs, and it was like, this is why you run away, because the tree fell, but as the tree fell, it split part of the trunk,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So then you have the top portion that fell over, and then you had this other portion that whipsawed back and just boom, like it would have taken out, several RVs,
Yeah.
just kaboom.
Well, yeah, there's so many different things that can go wrong. I mean, a lot of times they'll twist on the stump and go a totally different direction than you were planning. So even when you're running away,
You could be
might-
running in the
you might
wrong direction.
glance behind you.
Yeah, why do we have a shortage of employment? I don't know. Why don't more people want to do this?
Good question. Yeah.
Yeah, God bless it.
It's a tough business. So, yes, to answer your question, it's a tough business. It's really hard to get people interested that want to be out there and doing that work. Because, A, it is dangerous. It's still dangerous, even though we've mechanized most of it. It's still a dangerous business to be in. And then you're out there at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, from a standpoint of raising a family and being there for practice or whatever after work, it's not easy. You're still, a lot of times you're driving back and forth. It might be 2 hours to different job sites every day. Some crews are camping. That's not as common as it used to be, but a lot of crews used to camp out for weeks at a time. And like, that's just a tough go.
That's a tough life.
And I think if they're doing it well, it can pay really well, but it's, they can have a similar skill set and run, heavy equipment for a gravel operator or something like that. So, the pay may be the same, but the living situation and the quality of life may or may not be what they want to do.
Listen, man, I've seen Deadliest Catch. Okay.
Okay.
Or Ice Road Truckers, or like
Yeah.
Discovery Channel throwaway shows, right? Not Deadliest Catch, that's gangster. But the point is, you have dangerous jobs. Like, we have people that agree for the trade-off, and you have people that like adventure. You have people that are not risk averse. Like, you have people.
Yeah.
I don't quite understand it, honestly, because for me, when I was a kid, I'm like, dude, I will do anything for money. Like, not anything, but like I would work. I would not shy away from labor. I'm like, I want money, and this is the solution. You will give me money if I do, whatever, like mow the lawns, rake the leaves, do what, like, it didn't even matter to me. I was like, great, I'll work really, really hard. So like, it just doesn't entirely make, like, if I needed money and I was like, oh yeah, I'd do it. Like, whatever, man, you get up. Yeah, it sucks. Get up early. Like, here we go.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think that's true to some extent, but it's similar to, I think, the ag industry in a way.
Yeah.
Where most of the logging families have been doing it probably for generations. And so it's kind of built in, and it's built into the community. I mean, there's literal towns in Idaho that's what they do. Potlatch or Pheno, there's some up north. Like, that's what most of the people in the town historically did. And so as you have more options and, those kids are wanting to leave home and go do whatever they're going to go do, it's hard to get them to come back. It really is. And do the parents even want them to? It is a dangerous job. So it's like, yeah, they probably do, but I don't know. It's trade.
How come the Canadians figure it out? How come they have Tara up there? Like, I just don't. It's like, or people say it's our this generation. Okay, well, how does Canada figure it out? Like, do they just have different people? Do they skip over the social media wave? Like, what is it? We gotta, like, I believe that we can solve our problems both in Idaho and the United States. I can't identify the problem because everybody gets so down about America. It's like, oh, we're so terrible. It's like, okay, but people are figuring this out somewhere, right? Like, we have motivated people somewhere.
I don't think it's Canada, though. I think
forget Canada. Tara's an idiot.
Yeah, maybe. I think their industry is struggling as well.
So this is international. Like, internationally, the logging industry is and milling industry is suffering.
Yeah, I would say so. And in Canada, I mean, geez, I don't know for sure, but like, they've had multiple cycles of insect and disease issues that are just devastating most of their western forests. And it has come into the U.S. as well, but particularly up there because they had such a monoculture of forests type.
Ah,
That it
so
just-
that it was once one of them went down, it was really, they were like single crop.
Yeah, basically. So it was millions of acres that died all at once. And what do you do with that? I mean, it's only going to hold value for a year or two. And then, you know, there's only so much manufacturing going out. And then they have issues with the fact that the crown owns the land for the most part. So, like, there's a
The
whole,
crown, like the Canadian royalty,
yeah,
they have a king.
that's what they call it. It's the government owns the land, essentially.
Okay, okay. But they don't actually, there's no Canadian king, is
No,
there?
it's-
okay.
it's just what
It's
it-
just the crown.
It's the crown.
Did I miss this? I
don't
missed
think
the,
they actually have
I missed the whole like Princess Di was a beautiful woman, but like I don't care about the British royalty. Like everybody
don't
gets
even know
like
what they
Prince
actually
Henry
do.
and like it's like nothing. I don't think they do anything. I think
just
they
the
are a
PR.
figure. Somebody had a commentary that I thought was very interesting, which is they are the commoners' way of feeling connected to like lineage or
Okay.
something. That like you get so enamored with this royal family and like
Yeah.
they represent you. It's like your home team or something.
Right.
And I have problems with that because I don't watch pro sports anyway. So I don't have like a
even
raw
have that
team.
much.
Right. Like I don't care about your journey in life. Like I'm trying to feed my own family here, you know, and like
Yeah.
not even good at it.
I mean, I've never actually been to England, so maybe you have to like go and see it. But I mean, their history is so much longer, just by fact, than the U.S. history. I mean, it's been thousands of years that, you know, they've had kings and queens over there versus where we've kind of just been kicking around for the last couple of hundred.
How funny is that? It's so true.
Well,
Like
yeah.
the shortest Chinese dynasty was longer than the U.S.
Exactly.
has been around.
Well, and it's actually even funny within the U.S. Like you go to the East Coast and the history, you know, even just in like the architecture out there is so much older, sort of, than Western history, where we, you know, are 100 years behind on some of that stuff just because it took a while to get here, kind of a thing.
know.
It's crazy to think about.
I know. It's funny. So we moved, we were living in a new house when we moved here, and I'd never lived in a new house. I actually really don't like it, specifically because there are a lot of different aspects of me as a person that can't find representation because I like fixing things. I like building things. And like, if you move into a new
Nothing's
house, there's
broken.
nothing to fix. There's no space to like build stuff. Like there's no, you're not doing it. All the molding's done. Like you don't have to redo the casing, the trim, like nothing,
There's
right?
no honey-do list.
Yeah. And because of that, I was like, wow, I always had this vision of passing off my skill sets and my tools to my sons, of which I have 3, and helping them learn how to build things. Like I built my kitchen table. I built the beds my kids sleep on. I built like furniture, like I build things, right? And and I was like, well, I guess this is it, right?
Well, no, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to fix anything, so you can be more creative with
No,
your
because there was no
furniture
room
and
for
your
a shop.
things.
There was no room for a shop. And like,
you
what are
can't
you
do
going to
that.
do? Like you, if everything's done, there's no reason to have like a table saw.
That's true.
Right? Like, and it really, anyway, so we moved and it was into a quote, older house
Just
that
so you
was
can
built
fix
in the
stuff.
90s. I was like, older house? It was built in the 90s.
I was built in the 80s. That's not old.
Right, and the house I moved from was built in 55 as people came back from World War II. So it was originally like that just rectangular
Yep.
3-2 kind of
Very
structure.
simple structure,
Yeah, and then the house I was living in before that was built in 1908. It was in, Oakland or
wow.
Berkeley or something. But then you go East Coast and like it's 300 years old. Like
Yeah.
it's a brick house. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the wolf couldn't blow that one down.
Get some fiber optics to that one. That's super easy.
Little difficult running new pipes.
Yeah,
that's a
anything.
problem. Yeah. So listen, Tara, we've talked about a gajillion different things today. I want to know more about this. Obviously, I'm like not stopping my questions. I'd also love to see the mills and like talk to people
totally
working there.
gonna do that.
And there are milling programs involved in CTE programs and like
Oh, yeah.
whatnot, right?
Yep.
And like, this is a really in-demand market, right? Like if you guys could get more employees, you likely could up production. We could take better advantage of our natural resource. Like we could keep this industry going in Idaho. We
Yeah,
just
you're-
need employees.
Yeah, you're totally right. And just getting people into that pipeline. And what I was saying earlier about just trying to get people interested in the first place, there's lots of points of entry on that. And I'm sure you've had guests on to talk about sort of that more specifically. But recently, the industry has invested quite a bit in high school school programs. We've got grade school programs. We're trying to create like the pathway system in high schools. And then we've worked with the U of I. Actually, Dean Becker has a 2-year associates program that's specific to forest operations and nurseries and things like that. So we're doing what we can. I mean, it's a tough one, but getting those kids out in the woods, number one, when they're little, to just even appreciate that, because they don't get that opportunity as much as they used to. So get them out there, let them fall in love with nature, and then, bring them along of what forest management actually means. It's a renewable resource. So yes, you can cut trees and you can make paper. And I mean, even if you don't recycle it, you're not going to hell. I mean, it's going to be okay.
Well, for other reasons, but
right.
Not that one.
Not that one.
I have my reservations made. Don't worry.
Yeah, go ahead and print the email. It's
yeah,
fine.
right. Print the email. I would love to do this. Not just come out and visit and bother you, like I'm inviting myself to your house.
No,
not just come out and visit or have you on again, but I would love to help share the employment opportunities that you guys have. Like if you can provide me with like 2 or 3 different opportunities that you have, the utilization of the launch program or where they can get associate, like whatever it is, plus the compensation, like what is somebody's, like if they get like a 2-year certification through like the launch program, like what does somebody make coming to...
That's a good question. I think our like starting salary, which doesn't require anything, is like 60 or 52 to 60, something like that. And that's just
your
like
starting just high school. You don't even need a high school diploma. You can just get after it. Probably high school.
They
diploma.
probably need a GED or something. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, but then
Great.
it goes from there, and there's such a wide range. Like you're not necessarily operating equipment. You're helping with cleanup, or you're at the truck shop, or you're...
Who's the guy in the cab with the arm that grabs it, cuts it, knocks it down, and then knocks all the branches off? Who's that guy?
That's the guy. That's the logger.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. I want to drive the truck.
Okay.
I want to drive the thing. I get
so we're
mad.
not just going to the mill. We're going to the woods, which is even more fun.
That would be, let's do shows in both of them. Like I want to see the whole thing. You know what I got really mad about? I shouldn't be mad, but obviously the land board, right? Like is in charge of this incredible resource for the beneficiaries, like, like public education and stuff, the endowment. And I get a picture from controller Brandon Wolf.
Oh, I've
like,
seen that.
And I was
I've seen that.
Dude, I want to come. And it was like Superintendent Critchfield and Secretary of State Phil McGrain.
And they had that little video. And
dude,
you're like,
of course.
You shouldn't drive and talk at the same time. What are you doing?
Oh my God. And I got so jealous. I'm like, I want to do that, but I'll never be an elected official. Like I got to find something. No,
we'll
never.
Find someone to hook you.
Yeah.
You know, it's really cool. So like now one of the newer, it's not that new, but one of the new things people are doing is in order to operate on steeper slopes, we have tethered equipment. And it's literally exactly what it sounds. It's like you hook a winch.
I've seen it. It's like,
and dangle it over the side kind of a thing. It's awesome. And it works so well.
I'll take a video of that. I'm not doing that. I'm not dying today.
Well,
but
you can operate it from the top.
Oh, you move the equipment down and you're just like,
it's,
dude, I love this.
Yeah.
I'll even make that noise.
It'll be great. Well, you have to. It's required.
Okay, great. Well, I'm glad we're on the same page. Thank you for coming in. You're the best. I can't wait for this. Probably like late spring is the best time to come out, right? Because you guys like, now's not the great time.
Now it's not as much fun, yeah.
Okay, great.
Until the weather's better.
Okay, May?
Yeah.
Yeah? I'm holding you to this. Grangeville and then into the forest?
Okay.
God bless it. Thank you for coming on. We're going to do this again.
Thanks for having me.